Imagine this deeply uncomfortable scene. You're sitting down for a Sunday family lunch, right? A regular thing. Maybe there's a big pot of stew simmering. And suddenly, your 7-year-old nephew comes up, real quiet, and whispers maybe the most horrifying thing you could imagine.
Okay.
He tells you he put dog feces in the pot. Does this make the food extra spicy?
Wow. That's almost unbelievable. It pushes right past, a prank into something else entirely.
Right.
Public health hazard, psychological warfare almost.
Exactly.
But what makes the story we're looking at so compelling isn't just the physical danger, right? It's the emotional betrayal that happened right after, the collective reaction.
That's it. So today, we are doing a deep dive into this really extraordinary, very detailed personal account. It's like a narrative journal from someone who went through immense grief, this escalating family toxicity, and then, well, what turned into a calculated act of genuine, literal retribution.
Right. And our mission here isn't just to, tell the story. We want to really unpack how it all escalated.
Yeah, trace the steps.
We're tracking how this family unit just completely fractured. It starts with, enabling a troubled kid, invalidating trauma, then moves through this just shocking food incident.
That's believable.
And ends up with this unexpected kind of bureaucratic solution involving a government intervention and even financial penalties. It's wild. It's like a roadmap of how sometimes deep dysfunction needs an outside force to sort of find peace.
Okay, let's unpack it. And we really have to start with the narrator's emotional state before all this happened. The source is really clear. Just 3 months before this lunch, she'd had an early miscarriage.
Yeah.
Described as absolutely shattering.
Yeah, and that context is just crucial. It wasn't minor sadness. It was, like you said, shattering grief. They'd apparently even started thinking about names.
Right.
So when this whole thing went down, she was incredibly vulnerable, still reeling, and she chose to stay at her mother's house. It was a mutual decision. Her partner worked long hours, specifically because, and this is a quote, she didn't trust myself to be alone. She needed that family support.
Needed a safety net. But what she got was, well, less net, more like a tangled web. And at the center, the 7-year-old nephew and the narrator's sister, the prime enabler.
The sister. The source paints a picture of someone with a real pattern of dismissal. Any complaint about the nephew?
Immediately shot down. The narrator was always too sensitive.
Right. And the kid, he's just a kid. That classic line.
Always.
It's textbook enabling, isn't it? You protect the child from any consequence by basically attacking the person raising the issue.
And it wasn't new either. This wasn't the first red flag. The source mentions a specific incident before the stew thing. While the narrator was still pregnant, the nephew actually shoved her.
Oh, wow.
And the sister minimized it, called it roughhousing.
So the pattern was there, ignoring potentially dangerous behavior, blaming the victim. It was already established.
Exactly. So the narrator was already kind of walking on eggshells, feeling invalidated constantly. By the time that Sunday lunch came around, her emotional reserves were basically gone. And the sister had sort of conditioned the whole family to take the kid's side no matter what.
Which just sets the perfect stage for, well, disaster. The narrator is helping in the kitchen. She notices the nephew, and this is key, running back and forth from the yard, smirking near this big pot of stew. And then comes that awful whisper, admitting he put dog waste in the food to make it extra spicy.
Ugh, the malice in that.
Right. The kid's glee, confessing it specifically to the person he knew would react. That's the first shock. But the second shock, maybe the bigger one, was how the adults reacted. Or didn't react.
She immediately tried to stop things, right? Warned the sister, the mother, a cousin, an aunt.
Yeah.
Everyone there.
And the response.
Total overwhelming denial, eye-rolling, calling it a dumb joke, blaming her again for exaggerating or freaking out. The sister actually told her to stop blaming her son for everything, just pure contempt.
Okay, we have to pause here. Think about that dynamic. They're facing a potential biohazard, a serious health risk, and every single adult chose to protect the sister and the kid over even checking the food.
It says so much about the family hierarchy and the depth of their denial.
Absolutely. But even that, dismissing the health risk, wasn't the absolute breaking point for the narrator.
No. The real turning point was the cruelty that came next. The sister didn't just dismiss the poop claim, she weaponized the narrator's recent trauma against her.
She actually tied the poop prank to the miscarriage.
Yes. Suggested the narrator was only freaking out because she worried, and I quote, the poop will make her miscarry again.
Oh my God. That's unbelievably cruel.
And the family,
Look,
they laughed.
it's-
The source says the cousin almost fell over laughing.
Wow, so it wasn't just a mean joke. It was using her deepest, most recent pain as entertainment for the group.
That was it. That severed any remaining loyalty. The narrator saw it, I think, as the family choosing to side completely against her in the most vicious way possible.
It definitely shifted things. The stew pot wasn't just about contaminated food anymore. It was like a referendum on the family's character. And they failed. Big time.
So what did she do? She just walked out, left the pot potentially full of, well, sitting right there on the stove.
Didn't try to stop them again?
Nope. Declared basically, if you don't care, you can eat it. She felt they'd already chosen their side. They could literally consume the awful joke they'd made at her expense.
That's a statement. And then?
4 days. Absolute silence from the family. Nothing. Even the usually noisy family group chat went completely dead.
It must have been processing. Or maybe just avoiding it.
Avoiding it, seems like. The silence finally broke when the narrator talked to her mother. And the mother confirmed it. Yes, they ate the stew. And yes, it was real.
Oh, man. How did they finally figure it out? Because they initially dismissed it.
Well, the source says they started noticing a strange taste. Then one cousin actually voiced the unthinkable, asking sort of hesitantly, "This taste isn't dog poop, is it?"
And the nephew.
That was the key. He hadn't eaten any of it. He was just sitting there watching them all with this, like, chilling little grin.
Oh, creepy.
And when confronted, he apparently just said, "It was dog poop, Mom."
Yeah.
Boom. Instant chaos.
I can only imagine. The denial just shattered, mass panic, people running for the bathroom. The source mentions vomiting
Yeah.
in the living room.
Yeah. They literally physically consumed the consequences of their own denial and cruelty.
It's visceral. Did the mother apologize or?
Apparently made a weak attempt later to kind of blame the narrator again, saying maybe she should have insisted more that the food was poisoned.
Oh, still deflecting.
Yeah. But the narrator's take was blunt.
Uh-huh.
Her mom chose to protect my sister and ended up eating shit, literally. She stood by, letting them face it.
Okay, so did this huge, disgusting confirmation finally change anything? Did the sister learn? Did the family dynamic shift?
You'd think, right?
Oh.
But no. The sister's immediate reaction, petty revenge.
Of course. What did she do?
The oldest, dumbest prank in the book. Left
Yep.
a flaming paper bag.
Yeah.
Yes, with dog waste inside. On the narrator's porch.
Unbelievable. So, 0 lessons learned. Still acting like a child.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the family, though, seemed pretty shaken. Because they tried to have another Sunday lunch.
Oh, brave. Or foolish. How did that go?
The level of paranoia described is intense. Like a military operation. Everyone stayed in the kitchen while the food was being made.
Watching every move.
Yeah. And then the food was apparently escorted to the table like they were escorting the president's car, trying so hard to control the environment.
But they weren't controlling the actual problem, the nephew.
Exactly. He was supposedly watching TV in the living room. But while everyone was focused on the food, he managed to get a saw,
A saw. A 7-year-old.
apparently,
Yeah.
and partially cut through the leg of his aunt's chair.
No way. What happened?
Aunt sits down, chair collapses, she goes rolling across the floor.
Mm-hmm.
We've now escalated from, gross pranks to actual physical endangerment.
This kid is seriously out of control. That's terrifying.
And right after that chaos, he made a run for the food again, tried to dump the entire salt shaker into the main dish.
He just doesn't stop. Did they catch him that time?
Yes, someone intercepted him, and finally, someone imposed a physical boundary. Got a good smack on the hand.
Okay. A reaction, at least. Did that help?
Well, it caused the second lunch disaster. That smack, even though it was minor, apparently blew the family up again. Massive argument. Split right down the middle. Those who thought, finally, some discipline versus those who were absolutely against any physical punishment. Total chaos. The lunch was abandoned again.
This family. Wow. So what happened next? Group chat?
The sister was apparently removed from the chat. But yeah, it briefly came back to life, but only as like a battlefield, constant arguments about discipline, whether to call CPS, who was really to blame.
Child Protective Services. Okay.
And the narrator, watching this whole dumpster fire unfold after still getting some blame for the first lunch, decided to just check out.
Uh-huh.
Replied to the whole argument with just poo-poo emojis and a sandwich emoji.
That's eloquent in its own way. A final statement.
Got her kicked out of the chat immediately, of course. But then she did take serious action. She realized this was beyond family drama.
She called CPS.
She did. Provided evidence. Decided the behavior wasn't just bad. It was a symptom of neglect. potentially dangerous neglect.
A huge step. What happened with the investigation?
This is where it gets weirdly specific and almost darkly funny. The sister was investigated, the child wasn't immediately removed, but CPS set some requirements.
Like parenting classes.
Yes, standard parenting classes, but also, and this is the kicker, given the whole story, a class on food handling.
You're kidding. They actually mandated a food safety class because of the dog poop incident.
Seems like it. The state basically had to say, Lesson 1, feces are not a condiment. It highlights just how fundamental the breakdown was.
Wow. Bureaucracy meets utter family dysfunction. So while this was going on, did things calm down?
Not exactly. There's another twist. The sister, apparently believing the narrator hadn't reported her, suddenly decided the narrator was her best friend and confidant.
Oh, the irony. So the narrator became an inside source.
Yep, again, the family mole, getting all the updates on the nephew's continued pranks, while the sister was supposedly learning to parent and handle food safely.
Oh, no! What else did he do?
It was still escalating. Placed a frog in the sister's bed. Apparently caused such a commotion, police were called because neighbors thought she was being attacked. Put green dye in her shampoo.
Okay, still bad, but maybe less. Acutely dangerous.
And then the masterpiece.
Yeah.
Set a small fire outside as a distraction late one night.
A fire.
Small one, yeah. Sister ran out to check.
Yeah.
Nephew locked the door behind her. Left her locked out, half-dressed, at 11 p.m.
That's calculated and incredibly controlling. This is way beyond just a kid.
Totally. This level of dysfunction, it clearly wasn't going to be fixed by family talks or maybe even basic parenting classes. It needed something else. And that's where the financial angle comes in, the real turning point.
How so?
CPS eventually returned the son full-time, but they put these financial boundaries in place. Escalating fines.
Fines? For what?
For repeat incidents. For boundary crossings, they set up a system. A $1,000 fine for the first time she slipped up, $2,500 for the second, and then a massive $6,000 for anything after that.
Whoa. So real financial consequences tied directly to her ability to manage the situation.
Exactly. And the source material is crystal clear on this. The sister only started imposing serious, consistent discipline like no video games and TV were over after she got hit with the first 2 fines.
Money talked? The financial pain finally outweighed the convenience of enabling him?
It seems so. That's what it took.
Yeah.
Financial pressure achieved what family pleas, shame, common sense, even the initial CPS classes couldn't.
And were there other financial hits?
Yes, the aunt.
Yeah.
The one whose chair collapsed. She made the sister pay $5,000 towards her physical therapy costs.
So the consequences finally landed squarely on the sister's wallet.
Hard. And that seems to be what finally forced a real change in the system.
So what's the aftermath now? How are things?
Well, the narrator's relationship with her mother is described as practically non-existent. Understandable, maybe. But she still has her mole in the family chat. And the report is peace. An uneasy peace, maybe, but the chat is now apparently just memes and, quote, nonsense. The chaos has subsided.
So if we boil this whole wild story down, the big insight seems to be that this extreme incident, the shocking betrayal, the laughter, none of that was fixed by people talking it out or feeling sorry.
No.
The resolution came from outside. Bureaucratic intervention, rules, and ultimately cold, hard cash. Financial pressure created the boundaries that family loyalty completely failed to build.
It really is the ultimate kind of unsettling irony of this whole deep dive, isn't it? Peace was achieved, and the child finally got the limits he clearly needed, but only when the cost of not providing them hit the mother's bank account, thanks to the government stepping in.
Which leaves us with a pretty uncomfortable question for you, the listener, to maybe think about. What does it really say about family bonds, about responsibility, when the only thing that effectively stops the toxic chaos is a government-imposed fine?
A challenging thought indeed. Thanks for joining us for this particularly memorable deep dive.